Hey guys, so today I'm here with the Barricade Trail Force HD front bumper with LED lights fitting all 1987 to 2006 YJ and TJ Wranglers. So adding a front bumper to your Wrangler can add a number of different benefits, including utility, strength and protection, as well as aesthetics. So this Barricade front bumper is going to do all of that at a very affordable price point for everything that it brings to the table. So this is going to offer recovery points, a winch plate, and full front end protection with uncompromised approach angles. So as you can tell on the side, these are angled up, and that's going to be for those YJ and TJ owners that are looking to up their tire size and not necessarily compromise those approach angles on the trail. So this is also going to be for those YJ and TJ owners that are looking for some more solid protection than their factory front bumper was able to give them, with a bigger build as well as a bull bar up top. Now this is also going to come with some light mounting options, and what I do like about this in comparison to some other choices on the site is this is going to come with LED lights integrated into the front bumper, and it's also going to have a wiring harness, making it very easy to install this front bumper and wire up those lights. So this is going to be for those YJ and TJ owners that are looking for a little bit of extra lighting out of the front of their rig for those dark back roads and dark trails. So like I mentioned before, this is going to be very affordable for what this brings to the table at roughly $400. Now, like I said, this is going to come with a number of different benefits, and in comparison to some other choices, this is going to bring a lot to the table, including that utility, the extra visibility, and the overall build. Now, some other options are usually going to have a more simplistic design. They may not come with the auxiliary lighting, or they may just be for a tubular design that's really not going to incorporate all of the utility that this gives. Now, on the other hand, more expensive choices are usually just going to be a little bit more heavy duty as far as the build goes, or they may be different finishes or premium name brands. But in my personal opinion, I think this does a really good job at bringing a lot to the table. It brings all of that utility and a lot of extra style to the front of your rig, and it definitely gets the job done for about $400. So install is going to be pretty easy. It's going to be a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. There's very minimal wiring with this. Like I said, there is a wiring harness. So you're going to need about an hour's worth of time and a couple of basic hand tools. So speaking of the install, let's jump into that now. The tools that I used for my install were an impact wrench, a 19mm open-ended or box wrench, and a 19mm ratcheting wrench, a 3/8 inch drive and 1/4 inch drive ratchet, a 10mm and 11mm deep socket, a 10mm deep socket, a 19mm shell socket, and a flathead screwdriver. So our first step to taking off our factory front bumper is going to be to remove our sway bar cover. Now you're going to need a 10mm socket, and we're going to remove the 2 bolts on either side that are holding the cover on. So after the 2 bolts on the front are removed, there are going to be 2 on the back, so you can remove those with the same 10mm socket. After those 4 bolts are removed, we can peel up our sway bar end link cover. So after our sway bar cover is off, we need to remove the 2 bolts on the top and the 1 bolt on the bottom of either side of our front bumper. Now our hardware was replaced, so I'm going to be using a 19mm socket. However, these should be T55 Torx. So after the 2 on top are removed, we can remove the 1 on the bottom. Then same thing for the other side. After that last bolt is removed, we can remove the whole front bumper. So before we go ahead and install our new front bumper, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about it and all the benefits that you're going to see out of this that you're not seeing with your factory front bumper. So as you can tell, the factory front bumper is pretty plain. You have some basic thin steel in the middle, and then you're going to have some plastic end caps on the outsides. Now that is going to provide you some decent front end protection. However, it's not going to compare to this Barricade front bumper that we have here. So it's made of a thick steel material and has a nice textured black powder coat finish on top of it that is going to protect the steel underneath, but it's also going to do a great job at creating a very aggressive and off-road look. Now on the topic of protection, you are getting a bull bar up top here that's going to give you some grill protection, and then you're also getting a couple of different benefits out of this. It's going to add some utility as well as style to your Wrangler. So you have 2 welded D-ring mounts on the front, perfect for recovery as a safe and efficient recovery point. You're also getting a winch plate that has a standard bolt pattern in the middle, and then you're getting 2 light mounting tabs right on top of that bull bar, which is going to give you the option to add any accessory lighting down the road. Now, on the topic of lighting, this does come with 2 LED fog lights on the side, which in my personal opinion is something that I really like about this front bumper. Now, in comparison to your factory front bumper, obviously it doesn't come with it, but in comparison to even some other aftermarket front bumpers on the site, this is going to be one of the options that does integrate lighting, and that's perfect for some extra visibility while you're out on the street or even on dark trails. So I personally think this is going to be a big upgrade in style, function, as well as utility in comparison to your factory front bumper. So enough from me, let's go ahead and install our new front bumper. So what we can do is mount up our front bumper, slide it onto our frame rails, and then we can line up the 2 holes at the top and 1 underneath on either side and grab our hardware and secure it down. So after the front bumper is on and lined up, what we can do is take our provided hardware, the bolt, flat washer, and lock washer, and thread that into the factory hole in the frame. So after the 2 on top are on, we can thread in the 1 down at the bottom. And we don't want to tighten anything down just yet. We want to get the other side in, and then we can go back and tighten them down. So we can thread in the hardware on the other side. So once you have all of your hardware in, we can go ahead and tighten it down. Now on the other side, I used an open-ended wrench, and what that's going to do is just speed the process up. Now on the bottom, we can use that 19mm socket, and then we can wire up our lighting. So what we're going to do next is wire up our lighting. So what we have to do is pop our hood. So our next step is to take our wiring harness and get our 2 leads and feed them behind the grill, underneath the grill, and to our front bumper lights. So what I'm going to do is just take these and feed them on down so we can grab them from underneath. So while we're here, what we can do is just plug them in. There is going to be a little seal. You might want to make sure that it's seated. This is going to prevent any water or dust from getting in the connector. All right. And then our longer lead is going to go to the driver's side. We can tuck that underneath. And then we can head back up into the engine bay and connect this to the battery. All right, so what we can do is connect both of our positive leads from our switch as well as our inline fuse to our positive terminal. I'm using an 11mm socket in order to take this off. And we really don't have to take the whole nut off right here. What we can do is just loosen it up, and these terminals are open-ended, or these connectors are open-ended, so we can just sandwich them right in between. So after those are both on there, we can just tighten that back up with that 11mm socket. All right, so after those are tightened up, what we can do is take our negative lead and put that on our negative terminal. We're gonna have another negative lead, but we're gonna connect it to a ground over on the other side. So we're gonna do the same thing. This has an open connector. I'm going to place that on the terminal and tighten that down. And then we can grab the rest of our switch wires and put them over on the other side of our engine bay and connect those and run those through the firewall. So now we're over on the other side of the engine bay. We do need to ground out this 1 negative wire. So what I'm going to do is just ground it out on 1 metal bracket over on the driver's side. So I'm going to grab a 10mm socket and just loosen up that bolt so we can put that eyelet underneath. So this is going to depend on where you're grounding it out. However, I just picked this metal bracket and tightened it up with my 10mm deep socket. Now we can send our wiring harness through our firewall and hook up our switch. So what I'm going to do is just pull back on this grommet here and wiggle our switch wire through so we can access our cab area. So after you plug it in, what you can do is just mount it up in any location that you feel like, and then you can just zip tie these wires and clean them up. So after that's finished, then you're all set to go. So that's going to wrap it up for my review and install. Make sure you like and subscribe, and for more videos and products like this, always keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.